If there's anyone in the world who doesn't know who Stargate is, I gotta run down the songs now. Coldplay, Hymn for the Weeknd, Adventure of a Lifetime, Beyonce, Irreplaceable, Neo and Miss Independent, So Sick of Love Songs, Wiz Khalifa, Black and Yellow, Katy Perry, Fireworks, Rihanna, Please Don't Stop the Music, Rude Boy, What's My Name.
We had 3 number ones in a row from that album.
That's crazy. How did that come about? So welcome to a new episode of Songs You Know, and I have an incredible guest today, iconic, legendary Stargate member, Mikkel Erikson.
Thank you for having me, Toby.
Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Of course.
It's really special.
Great.
So
I love this setup you have here.
Yeah, so if there's anyone in the world who doesn't know who Mikkel or Stargate is, I gotta run down the songs now. So I think my most favorite that you've been part of is Coldplay. That album, like Hymn for the Weeknd, Adventure of a Lifetime, Everglow, and the whole album you produced, right?
Thank you. Yeah, that's very
incredible.
Rare that we do a whole album. It's usually like
yeah.
As a writer and producer now, you do like 2 songs on this project and 3 songs on that, or 1 song on that. So
yeah.
To be part of a whole album was pretty special and very
Chris
different.
Martin,
I mean, the best writer in the world, and the nicest person in the world too, by the way. It's
yeah.
Like the whole team, the whole band and their crew is the nicest you'll ever meet to work with.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, it actually started with Jay Brown introducing Chris and us to write for Rihanna. Mm-hmm. That was the way we met.
Yeah,
because at the time we were writing songs for Rihanna, like all our best songs. We were like, okay, let's give them to Rihanna. Uh-huh. So Chris was like, Chris, you should work with the guys and create something. So we did. We met up in the studio, started jamming on some ideas, and came up with some songs. And one of those songs that became really good was a record called Fun. Mm-hmm. And the lyrics is basically Chris talking about his relationship. I think we're allowed to say this, with Gwyneth, and kind of how much fun they had and the beautiful things about it, even though it was over, right? Mm-hmm. So then after we'd done this record, he came to us and said, guys, how would you feel about using this song for the band, playing it to the band instead of pitching it?
And your jaws dropped.
And I was like, absolutely. Yeah. What are you talking about? Of course, we'd love that. So he did that, and then we worked on some soundtrack songs with them as well. And that led to them like meeting the whole band. I think it was on the rooftop, and then they asked us, hey guys, would you like to produce the whole album?
Wow.
And we were like, oh my God, this is an incredible honor and opportunity. So,
and were you part of the writing of more of the songs on the album as well?
Yeah, we were. Of course, we're also very cautious and a lot of respect for the band and their legacy, and so we kind of wanted to let them kind of do their thing and be who they are. But at the same time, if we're going to do this, we had to infuse kind of who we were and make it into a true collaboration. So a lot of the songs were made from scratch in the studio. Mm-hmm. Kind of just jamming and us coming up with chords or beats, and then Chris coming with stuff, and we were developing that, and we had 2 studios going at the same time, so they would be tracking guitars and stuff, and then we would get those files, and then we would bounce them back, and we would all be in the room, and so it was a really fun process. But
how many songs did you end up producing for the record?
There are probably another like 5-10 records that didn't make it in different forms, but a lot of the ideas came from either us just sitting there and jamming together, or Chris coming with a more fully fleshed out idea, just sitting by the piano and, hey guys, what do you think about this? And this incredible piece of music comes out, and you're just like, oh my God. And he says, like, these songs just come to me. It's like I'm just downloading, right?
It's crazy.
So
it was often Chris coming with a spark and a hook line maybe, and then you would jam on it and evolve that into an idea.
Or it would be us coming up with some rough chords or start of a beat, and then the band coming in and doing their parts. Like they're really good at everyone is coming with their own contributions as far as their own parts. So Johnny will come with the guitar part, which is a real part. Right.
How did that come?
Actually, that came from us sampling Chris's vocal from some mumbly takes of a melody, chopping it up into a vocal chop.
So it's so catchy.
As you hear it with that guitar, it's like there's a vocal chop in there. That's how it started. And that was in the track. And then Johnny heard that, and then he made the riff to go on those notes. So he kind of
that's some of my favorite music. I love listening to Coldplay, and what a great accomplishment this record. How long did it take you for the album?
It took at least a year, maybe a year and a half. So again, very different process. We traveled to London, we did it in Malibu and in LA and other places. So definitely a much longer process and worked much longer on each song. As you know, usually we finish a song in a day or maybe another day to do some mixing. But
so they were really hands-on, trying to get the very best out of every song.
Yeah.
Wow.
So super happy and super proud to have been part of that whole album.
And then Beyonce, Irreplaceable.
Yes.
One of her first pop hits.
Right.
That was such a big record at the time. And I think one of the statements of here is Beyonce outside of Destiny's Child now, and she's her own strong artist. Yeah. How did that song come about?
Actually, we talked about Jay Brown, and that's what shows you the importance of good management and good A&R. Because he also came to us and said, yo guys, what do you think about doing like country guitars mixed with current beats or with like hip-hop beats? And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. We know some good guitar players, and at the time we worked with Espionage, which... amazing producers and musicians, right? So we had them make some guitar loops. Yeah. And we took one of those, chopped it up, and then added contemporary drums and some other instruments, and had that as a beat in the folder, like you do. Neo came to the studio, and then he gravitated towards that beat and was like, oh, that's different. I like that. And then he wrote the song on top of it. As potentially a song for himself. And then it turned into a song for Beyonce. Right. So, and then Larry Jackson came by the studio later that day. He heard the song and he was like, yo guys, that's a really good record, but it would sound much more empowering coming from a woman than a man, obviously. Like, take your bags and get the fuck out. Like, that's not... Where's the to the left, to the left? Where did that come from? That was the first line in the first verse. That's my favorite. So catchy. But then what... I think it was Tor's suggestion, my business partner, to take that first line and repeat it before the verse started. Oh, good. So it was just the first line of the first verse. So we repeated it. And then when eventually Beyonce recorded it, she also repeated it later on in the song. So that became the big song. So it's like a hook inside a hook. Yeah. If you ask anyone, like to the left, they know what record you're talking about, right? Yeah. So, and so Neo and you worked a lot. There was Miss Independent was a big hit for him. So Sick of Love Songs. Those are also songs you did with him, right? Yeah. We did a lot of work with Neo. Those were like #1 hits, I guess. That was massive. That was our first #1 in the US. Wow. We've a lot of, or nobody knew us when we came to New York in 2005. So they didn't know that we'd already had like 40, 50 top 10s in the UK. Oh, so, wow. But then when we started working together, they realized like, oh, these guys actually know what they're doing. And so we had Neo come by the studio by chance because we were in the same studio. And he listened to some of our beats and he's like, hey, did you guys make these beats? Like that, he couldn't believe that these lanky, like white guys from Norway made these soulful sounding tracks. Yeah. So there was an instant chemistry, like creatively. And we started writing So Sick. He came up with this. He already had the concept, I think, for the song, and he was just waiting for the right beat to do it. And when he sang the chorus to us the first time, like going on that harp melody, he kind of took the melody from the track, right, and sang and refined it.
Beautiful song.
We were like, oh my God, this is incredible. This is the best thing we've ever been part of. But then his manager came into the studio and he was like, no, we don't need any more ballads and mid-tempos. We need like a hard banger.
What was that back then? Labels would only start with a fast song, first single, second single, and then was time for the ballad. The third, maybe if you were lucky, you would get a ballad single.
So that could have been a disaster. Like he basically shut it down. It's like, no, we need an up-tempo with horns and more attitude. And so we did that. Instead, we pivoted, and then we did this more harder sounding, aggressive record. But then, of course, afterwards, we're like, but we have to finish this one because this is a special record. We finished it, and then Tata and Jay Brown came down to the studio. Suddenly, there were like 40 people in that tiny Studio R in Sony in New York, and it became a party, and we played the record 40 times in a run.
Wow.
Everyone knew that this was special. It became our first #1 in the US.
That was the first.
Yeah.
And then Wiz Khalifa, Black and Yellow, did that also happen around that time, right?
Yes, that was a little bit later, but in that same era.
How did that come about? That became like an anthem.
Yeah, we had no clue what it's kind of the gravity of that concept. Massive. I don't even know if he did, but kind of same thing. He came to the studio, very open-minded, because a lot of rappers also could easily think like, why are we working with these people? Like they don't know hip hop, right? So
you always felt also a little bit like you have to prove yourself to these cool people.
Absolutely,
you have to be cool.
Yeah, right. And we really thought, with coming to America, we thought we had to make cool beats like Pharrell and Timbaland and those guys. But of course, we realized that what people want from us is not that. They already got that. Why should we do that? So they came to us for the more melodic stuff.
Yeah,
right?
That's so funny how America teaches you to find, to look
sure
inside
you have
yourself
the same experience, right?
See what you can offer. Yeah.
So he came to the studio, listened through a bunch of beats, and then he was loving this simple kind of 80s synth riff thing with 808s on it, which again is not a kind of a normal combination of elements, right?
Yeah.
So very different for a rapper, but he came up with the black and yellow concept because he just bought this car that was black and yellow, like with. Yeah. So it was first about his car.
What kind of car was it?
It was like one of those like Challenger or Hellcat kind of American muscle cars.
Fast and loud.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely like push the start. It was all about the car. But then, of course, he was also a big Pittsburgh fan, right? So it became this sports anthem that we had no idea.
Yeah,
but
it
same
exploded,
thing there.
right? It was like surprise everywhere.
Yeah.
Suddenly you couldn't get it out of the radio anymore. It's everywhere.
And he's been talking about that in different interviews and podcasts too, where he wrote the song and the rap, and then the chorus. We went in and said, no, you gotta repeat this part. You gotta simplify it, and we made the hook a little more.
Okay.
Yeah. To the point. And he listened. So yeah.
Amazing. Then we have to talk about Rihanna. You have a long history with Rihanna, right? Many, many songs. Diamonds one is probably the biggest, right? Or one of the biggest?
Yeah, I don't know numbers wise, but I mean, it doesn't get bigger than the Super Bowl, right? So that's always fun.
How did Diamonds come about?
Diamonds actually was written, first we did the music with Benny Blanco. We had a session with him, and then came up with the beat. So I had a complete track. Benny put all his like little cool quirky sounds on there, and then the drums, and we crafted this beat together. And then Benny really wanted it for Eminem or for Kanye. Otherwise, he had a few people who was like, this could be amazing for them. Yeah. So I think he sent it to a few people, and it was even on hold, I think, for one of those big rappers at the time. But then we had a session with Sia, and
at the time Sia was just a writer, right?
Yeah.
She just came from, I think, Australia.
Yes, she had her own band that she'd had for a long time, but then she had that big Titanium record with David Guetta, right?
That's at that time already.
Yeah, she already done that.
Okay.
So when we heard that song, we were like, oh my God, she's an amazing writer and what a voice, right?
Yeah.
So we had done another song. I don't know which one or if that song became anything at all, but she was waiting for her. Well, this was before Uber, so she had a driver, like a black car in New York, and she was like, "Oh, the driver's not going to be here for another like 15-20 minutes. Like, what else you got?"
Yeah.
And then Tor played her the Diamonds beat.
Yeah.
Right? Played her the beats, and it's like, and the first thing that came out of her mouth was "Shine bright like a diamond."
Really?
And
wow.
She wrote it like literally and recorded it in 15 minutes.
Crazy. With the verses?
And left. With everything.
No way.
Everything the way it is. Super, super fast.
That's genius. Wow.
And then, of course, afterwards, we were like, this feels like something. There's something about this record.
Yeah.
And we played it to Benny.
And it's unorthodox. It's not your typical songwriting. Like
and Benny, he's also told this story many times, but he's like, he didn't like it. I mean, he liked it, but he was like, but it doesn't have a hook. It's not hooky enough. Like, what is this thing? Like, no, let's give the beat to Kanye. Like he was, he wasn't feeling it. When we were like, but we're going to London next week with Rihanna. Let's bring it in to her. It's like, no, it's not it, man. It's not it. but of course, like later on, he realized that it actually had some magic, and it's an amazing record. But we did bring it to London anyway and played it to her in the studio. One listen, she said, "Guys, you've done it again.
Wow,
this is probably my first single." And
again, so what was the one preceding that?
No, we had many records. Like,
you did
What's My
Please
Name?
Don't Stop the Music.
Don't Stop the Music.
With the Michael Jackson sample?
Yeah.
Mama say, Michael say.
Exactly.
How did that start? Did you start with that sample or?
Yeah, it actually started with just the idea of doing the sample. And not a lot of people at the time were combining kind of European dance music with R&B or pop.
Yeah.
Right? So that was also kind of a first.
But it was a Michael Jackson sample, right?
Yeah, and he again took it from some African tribe, right, or a chant, right? So we used that as inspiration and wanted to do more kind of a Daft Punk, cool dance record out of it.
Yeah.
And then we had Frankie Storm in the studio who co-wrote the top line, and that's the way it came out. And
so many Rude Boy you did with Rihanna, and What's My Name, and
What's My Name. Yeah, we had 3 number ones in a row from that Loud album.
That's crazy.
Only Girl in the World, Hate That I Love You.
Big songs. And then Julia Marcus Issues.
Yeah.
I mean, what a record.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that song. And again, what an amazing writer and artist. Super happy for Julia. And it's fun to see like such an amazing writer that can also transition into becoming an artist in their own right.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So we were, we had a session with Julia. I think we're just fiddling around with a simple little pizzicato sound and came up with the riff, and then they latched on to it. It's like, I think Justin Tranter was there as well.
Justin, what a career he has now.
Oh man,
I love the guy. He's so great.
A great guy, right?
Yes, amazing.
Yeah. Amazing writer.
Also, Semi Precious Weapons at first as frontman from the band, and now one of the top writers in America.
Some people you're so happy when they win, right? They're such good people.
And then Katy Perry, Fireworks.
Yes, yeah. We
who had the plastic bag idea at the beginning?
Actually, a lot of those lyrics came from her.
Yeah.
We did the beat with Sandy V. You know, you remember Sandy, right?
Yeah.
Like he worked a lot with David Guetta, and then again, so we took like the authentic club sound and sonics from him, and then we came up with the kind of the cello string riff and the chords and things like that, and played the song played the beat as one of the beats for Esther and Katy that was in the session.
Yeah.
she loved. I think it was kind of the same thing as Neo. When she heard the beat, she was like, I've had this concept or this idea from an idea she had from a book, I think a statement, that she wanted to write about this concept. And this was the perfect music for that. So then it kind of came out very quickly, and she came out with the plastic bag line and the whole concept of the fire, like finding your inner firework, basically.
Yeah.
So
incredible. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. We truly appreciate it. I'm excited to announce that we are launching a Patreon. This will be a place where you can find out about our upcoming guests, where you can get exclusive access to BTS footage, like for instance a walk through Greg Wells' studio. You can even submit your own questions that we're going to ask in the podcast. That's going to be so much fun. By joining this community, you can help tell the stories behind some of the biggest songs in music history. Thank you for your support. It really does mean everything, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. Hope to see you there. We could go on and on talking about your songs, but I want to talk about you as well. So, what happened before you came to America? You lived in this beautiful country, Norway, which I just recently traveled to, and I can't believe how beautiful the fjords and the glaciers, and between the glaciers up in the mountains, it's so unreal. It's like a different planet. So amazing, Norway.
We got beautiful nature. And
where did you grow up in Norway?
It's a small town called Trondheim. It's the third biggest city, but it's still like super small. Maybe 250,000 people live there.
Is it by the ocean?
Yeah, it's by the fjords, like those like small. Incredible. I don't know what that is
That's
called
like
in
paradise.
English.
I mean, you go there in summer and you can't believe that there's a pristine place like this that has.
It's gorgeous,
breathtaking.
But also there's 8 months of darkness, right? So in the winter time, it's
you have to run away from
brutal. You have 2-3 hours of daylight, and then it's dark again.
So then, what do? You drink a lot, or
no? You're in the studio making beats.
That's right. Okay, good.
So I mean, I think that plays into it. Like growing up, like there's not a lot to do. So you're basically inside. You have to find some hobby or hang with your friends or make music.
And it's a small country, so you probably also got a lot of American movies and English culture. As opposed to, I grew up in Germany, and every movie was dubbed in German.
Right.
So my ear wasn't trained as much as yours to the English language.
None of the big movies or no movies whatsoever were dubbed into Norwegian. So of course we heard English from a very early age, and everyone they teach you English from first grade, and also we only get to hear the biggest songs right from the US. We don't hear number 24 on the R&B chart.
You were trained on hits,
We only heard the big hits.
That is very true.
That's the level. Like our songs have to be that good, otherwise we're nowhere, right? So I think that maybe can play into it. Like some people say, "Oh, Scandinavian, you have such a good melodic sensibility," but I think it's what you're exposed to.
When you were a little kid, when you were 5, or what was your first experience with music where you felt like, I want to do this?
That I don't know, but I grew up around music because my mom was an actress and singer. She had a musical kindergarten at home, always instruments, always music. She played guitar and piano to me from very little. And my dad was in tech, so we had access to early computers, like Commodore 64 and Sharp 10 and Ataris and stuff that I got to.
Atari and the early logic on Atari.
Yeah, it was actually Cubase.
Cubase,
But so it was the perfect setup for being a producer. Even though I didn't know that. I had music and I had tech and I had the opportunity and I had time and parents who supported it. Growing up and was exposed to a lot of music. My mom was into Stevie Wonder and Sting and Peter Gabriel, and then on my dad's side, he played a lot of Beatles and different influences.
How did you meet Tor?
It was actually in Oslo through a mutual friend that was in more of the electronic music space, and he said, "You guys have to meet because you're the only guys in Norway that love R&B and hip hop." Because it was much more like skewed towards rock in the 80s and 90s in Norway. It was not a lot of rhythmic and R&B music. So Tor was working as head of A&R at Warner Music at the time. So he was making music, but he also was A&Ring and putting together projects and selecting songs. So I showed up to his office with demos of my own kind of projects, artists that I'd found or songs that I made that I presented to him, and he was like, I don't really know about these artists, but did you make these beats? Did you make this music on your own? And I was like, yeah, that's what I do. And he was like, oh my God, we got to work together. I have some artists I can bring to you, and we can. So then we, again, like instant, like chemistry when it came to the music and the references and what we liked. And we also had a third partner called Hallgeir, which I had a studio with at the time. So he was part of all those records we did together in the UK.
What was your first breakthrough record in the UK?
I think it could have been Shola Ama and Glamour Kid. It was the first top 10. It was the remix we did back then. And then we had a string of remixes and original songs for the boy bands and girl bands and stuff in the UK. And Blue.
And then when did you decide to go to America? And then how was it to re-establish yourself in America?
We always had the dream about America, and we tried maybe a couple of times without any real results. So it was, we were kind of forced to it because we had a string of hits in the UK. Had like every other song on the radio in the UK was ours, and we had like the Stargate tag on there, like Vicky Stargate. Like, and people like I can't take another Stargate record. They were done with it. So overnight, like we were like dead
in the UK.
They were like, no more. So that was like 2004. Everything stopped, and we were like, okay, we had a good run. What do we do? Do we just shut it down? Do we just go each to our own, or do we try like one last time to go to the US? So we took like the last money in the company account, rented a studio in New York, set up some sessions, and we're like, if we can sell one song, then we can come back and do more. And we sold one song, and then on that second trip is when we met Neo, and then we realized like, oh, this could be our moment, and we
and Neo and you worked together for a long time, right?
Yeah, still do. We're still making stuff.
That's amazing that you keep those relationships for so long.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
No, what an incredible writer and artist in his own right too, but his like storytelling and concepts are just so special.
So how's the work dynamic between Tor and you?
We both can do the same thing. We both play keys. We both can record and engineer and write. But I would say in general, I'm doing most of the kind of in charge of the workstation and tracking and a lot of the production and technical stuff and executing ideas, where Tor is amazing at like coming up with concepts and ideas and simple like melody lines and chords and concepts, and really good at working with writers as well to refine like when they come with ideas and songs, like, oh, what if we repeat that line, or can you make it more like this or that? And so it's a really good dynamic, and we both produce and play, and we sit and jam together and come up with themes and kind of make each other better.
And you've gone this entire journey together, and you're still working together every day.
Yeah, I mean,
he's like a sibling to you.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely more like a brother than anything else, and. So very, very close, and thankful for that relationship. And then, but of course, it's ups and downs with everything. So we had a period a few years ago where he's tired of my chords and melodies and sounds, and I'm tired of whatever he does every time. And so we were like, no, let's try to also make some records separately, or almost take a little break, right? And
then you found back together.
Yeah, and then we did some records separately. Yeah. But then we did a couple of records together, and like, these are much better, like, and did much better. So like, then we're like, oh, let's. So sometimes you need that kind of confirmation that yes, when the stuff we do together is actually.
What are some favorite moments of your career?
I mean, it's different stages, right? So of course, like the time that we got the message that we had our first UK top 10. That was a big milestone, like coming from a little town in Trondheim and like something we made is popular in the UK. That was like huge milestone.
Wow.
And then same thing, of course, when So Sick hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. That's like, there's only one Norwegian group that's done it before, and that's a-ha with Take On Me. So that was.
What does it mean, Take On Me?
It means nothing. Like, it was just a play on Take On Me.
Having a #1 hit with something that means nothing, that's
a real
feat.
Take Me On. Like, it was just a word play on something like Touch Me, I guess it
and
means.
What a brilliant song.
An amazing song. Yeah, we know those guys. Like, great writers. And So, so there's been these milestones. And then, of course, I would say one of my most amazing moments was driving around in New York at the height of our success, listening to the radio. Like, you had Hot 97, you had all these like big radio stations, right?
Yeah.
And then I flicked through the stations, and on 3 of the biggest stations were playing our songs.
Crazy.
Different songs.
Yeah, crazy.
At the same time, in New York, with the top down, driving down like Fifth Avenue.
That is such a great feeling.
That is the best. And then, of course, being at a Coldplay show and seeing 100,000 people singing along to something that you've been a part of, that's also just...
What were some of the challenging, or let's say some of the embarrassing moments of your career?
Oh, there's been tons. I mean, we still... to this day, if we work with people, you can be a little anxious going into it, or like, is what we have good enough? And then suddenly, I don't remember what band it was, but it was one of those UK boy bands, I think we were working with. And then right in the middle of recording, we're like, all right, could you do that line one more time? Like, yeah, the one in the second verse, could you? And then it's like, where do you go? And they just left. They just left the studio. There was no one there. I was like, okay, well...
That was like my Britney Spears session. She just left.
That makes you feel so stupid, right? So what did I do wrong? So we had a couple of those. And then...
And so New York versus LA. You've lived many years in New York and many years in LA.
Yeah.
What do you love about each place and what do you hate about each place?
I absolutely love New York. Had the best time there. Of course, we were in with some of the amazing artists and made some of our best songs there. So just the energy and the drive, and everyone's there. The A&Rs are coming through the studio at 11 p.m. and then it's like this, everyone wants to succeed in this energy that's nowhere else in the world. So that's what I love about it. And also we had small kids there, so everyone was like, how could you raise kids in New York? But it was close to the Central Park, and you had the museums and so much like culture and life. So I think that was great as well. And the diversity, like everyone from all over the world coming there, and coming from Europe, you didn't feel like an outsider. You still felt like you were part of this organism.
That's a real quality of New York. Everyone feels at home right away. Yeah.
So that I love. Of course, the winters are brutal. Like, even coming from Norway, we're used to the cold, right? But the wind tunnels, it's just So after 10 years, we're like, okay, let's go to California and have a house with a pool and some outdoor activities. And of course, that's what's amazing about this. Like, this today is like the nicest summer day in Norway. Like, this is as good as it gets. Yeah. So love that. And also the whole industry moved, right? So everyone's here, all the labels, all the artists and writers. So it really like picked up creatively as well. It's the right place to be.
The exodus from New York, everyone moved to LA at some point.
And I love that we were able to build a studio that felt more like this. You have windows, and you can more relaxed vibe, and you can hang more with the family. So that it's been amazing.
So Tor and you've created something very special, like what do you call it? It's a university for musicians and producers.
Yeah.
Tell me all about it.
Really excited about that. It's called LAMP, Los Angeles Academy for Artist and Music Production. And that's exactly what it is. Do you remember, did you see Fame at all? Like, there's a show? Yeah. So it's kind of a real life version of that, where we gather 50 producers, writers, and artists that gets to collaborate for a full year. We have 16 studios, and it's all based on mentorship and collaboration and workshops. So they come in, and then you would be a mentor on a Monday, and then you would come in, you would share your story, you would answer any questions they have, and tell your story, and then you would give them a prompt like, this week write all the songs on the roads or on a acoustic guitar or something, or about this topic.
Only love
that
songs, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like a broad kind of concept, and then we put them in groups. There's always a writer and a producer and an artist in a group. They get assigned a studio for that week, and they have to write at least one song that week.
Always 3 per room.
Yeah, anywhere from 2 to 4 in a room, and then and then the mentor or we or someone else will go from room to room and help them hands-on with the song. Okay, what you got? And then they play their ID, and then we help them craft their song. It's like, no, those drums are crap. Like, try this or and then we have workshops during the week from industry professionals or with social media or mindset or even like stagecraft or plugins or anything that we think is...
You have a stage as well, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And showcases and more like artist development. We have Chris Anakuta now, who's the...
Yeah, I love Chris.
The director.
Oh, so, I didn't know that.
So he's kind of running it now, which is an amazing resource, right? He's had huge records, so he's also walking and coaching all the artists there.
And how do you apply for this school?
You just go online. You go to lampmusic.com.
But then you have a pretty strict selection process, probably. You want to find real talents.
For sure. Yeah. No, and it's you don't need a degree or anything like that. It's only based on your talent.
Yeah.
So if you have something to offer, then you have a shot. So lampmusic.com is LAAMP music.com. Just go and apply. You just send a link to your SoundCloud or to your Spotify or to whatever music you have and your socials, and then we'll listen to your music and then maybe do an interview and
see, I wish apply. I was 15 again. I would apply.
That's the whole point. We wanted to make something that we wish existed when we grew up.
Is there an age limit?
I wouldn't say there's a limit per se, but most of our students are between, I would say, like 17 to 30.
And is it expensive?
It's a lot of money. I wouldn't say it's expensive because the value is amazing. It costs $39,000
for 9 months.
Yeah, basically for a full year. But I mean, in LA, you pay $50,000 for kindergarten and playing with blocks and learning ABCs. so in that way, you're getting mentorship by the best in the world. Like we have Benny Blanco and Neo. We have Diplo with the best people coming through. Emily Warren. Yeah. You will be there.
I'd love to.
So for that, and you get studio time every single day from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. And so the value is incredible, but of course it's a lot of money. So there are a few select scholarships as well. If you can afford it, you can apply for that. So of course we want a diverse group, and we want a lot of interesting people and put together a good...
How long have you had it yet?
It's 4 years.
4 years, yeah. And it's been a good experience?
Yeah, it's been really fun. Like, we love it.
I was going to start with, what was it like to work with Rihanna and all the tracks that you've got with her from that sort of era, so... Yeah,
I mean, it's been the most amazing experience ever. We heard Rihanna when our management played Pon the Replay, her first record, before it came out. Yeah. And instantly, before even seeing a picture or anything, we're like, oh my God, her voice is so unique and cool. We'd love to work with this artist. And we did. And on the first album, we had 1 song, and then the second, we had 2 and 3. And so we've been part of 7 albums and just had the most amazing journey, and seen her grow from like this brand new baby artist to becoming an icon that she is today. It's just been the most rewarding thing. And then again, the chemistry we had with her and the writers we've collaborated with has been amazing. And yeah, I mean, the songs speak for themselves. It's the work we're most proud of.
There's a lot of tracks that you've from that sort of era when she's probably arguably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, artists on the planet. Like Only Girl in the World, for example, is one. As I say, like what was like the writing in those sort of sessions? Was you with her? What were they like?
I mean, it's like we did any other session. I would say we would come up with beats or musical ideas, either just Tor and myself, my partner, or like Only Girl in the World, for example, we did with Sandy V, like a more EDM producer. He came up with kind of the drums and that little thing, and then we, by chance, did those other chords. And it was like, oh, that's weird, because it's transposing. It goes from like a F sharp minor key to a B minor. and then Priscilla, the writer who we worked with, I came up with like the transition into kind of the chorus, which is the hardest kind of thing to make work. And then she totally killed it. And that's what makes the song special, like that kind of back and forth between those two keys.
Yeah.
Just transposing. But of course, like great concepts, great lyrics, and Rihanna killed the vocals. And so that was really fun.
What other artists out there would you still love to work with?
Great question. We've asked ourselves that many times too, because we've been fortunate to work with almost like all our heroes, old and new, right? So, but one artist we've always loved that's high up on the list is The Weeknd. We think that we love like dark synth music and that kind of vibe. So I think that would be a natural fit. So that's definitely one, and obviously like Adele and Ed Sheeran and there's still a few that we would love to do stuff with. I mean, SZA. I'm a big SZA fan.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So I play a little bit of a melody and.
I just called to say I love you.
Very good. Yes. First song, you got it right. All right. Let's see.
Oh, that's trickier. That could be a lot of things.
I'll give you one more.
It doesn't give me much, right?
I'll give you another one.
Oh yeah, We Will Rock You. Yeah. Oh man, I should have gotten that.
That's a good one. Okay.
Dancing Queen.
Yeah, amazing. Two notes and you know it. That's incredible. I mean, those are big songs if you can guess them by two notes.
Right?
There's another one you will know with two notes.
Over the Rainbow?
Yes, instant. Yeah. You're good at that.
Happy Birthday to You? No.
No? Could be. Yeah. That's right. The band name is like something to eat.
No, that's I can't.
It's I Got a Feeling, Black Eyed Peas. I got a feeling.
Oh yeah,
tonight's gonna be a good night.
If you play the root note, then
right, yeah,
bass,
that was tricky. Okay.
Is it like the old classic? No, it's not that.
That works too. Yeah, no, I meant another one, but that's perfectly valid too.
Damn, I can't get it.
Wait.
No Woman, No Cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe one or two more. Let's see. I play the bass line.
Okay. Stevie Wonder.
The song?
What was it called again? I know the clavinet riff.
How does it go?
Yeah.
Superstition.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
such a great song.
Title escaped me.
Well, you're guessing all of them. That's great. Maybe one last one. One that I love.
That's tricky.
I'll play you more. Oh, wait.
I don't think I've heard.
You don't know? I Want to Ride My Bicycle from Queen. I want to ride my bicycle.
Okay. Yeah.
Love that song.
That was
all right.
That was a hard one.
Well, you did great.
Thank you. I got a couple at least.
Now we come to the part where this podcast is really for people who want to do what you do and get inspired. So I'm sure you've learned a lot of like do's and don'ts and life lessons and tricks. If you could pass on some of those. If someone wants to be a producer, what are the do's and the don'ts?
The amazing thing now, compared to when I grew up, which it was almost impossible to make it sound like the records on radio or now on Spotify at home, but now anyone can, right? With a laptop and a little MIDI keyboard and a mic, you can make records that are as good as anything that's out there. Yeah. So the threshold is a lot easier. So of course you learn your craft is what I would say is the most important thing to begin with. And try to make music that you love. Like it could be really discouraging to just, I need a piano teacher, and then you learn all these classical pieces or type of music that you're not into. Of course, you need to learn your chords and your scales and everything, but start with learning things that you love and copy things that you like. Like how did that Playboi Carti song or those drums, how can I make those drums? I listen to it, analyze it, try and replicate it, try and create some of that. And then I would say collaborate is a big one. Find other people in your circle that you can collaborate with, that share your vision and your taste in music. Yeah, you've been such a faithful collaborator for like entire career with one person collaborating. That's and also remarkable. The two of us have been collaborating with a lot of other producers, right? And other writers. Yeah, I think in our like session folder, and just since we came in 2005, there's like 600 folders of different collaborators and artists. Amazing. So that's what it takes, right? So, and of course it's work ethic. That's one of the things that I have regrets. If I look back at my career, my first hit, Big Girl Don't Cry, was a 50-50, and I felt every song has to be a 50-50. So I didn't want to work with producer teams, or we didn't want to work with more than two people in the room, and maybe just hopefully just me and the artist. And that was also a limitation. I mean, in the end, I was happy that I had a lot of 50-50s, but it's definitely worked for you. You have some amazing records in your catalog, some great records. But yes, I would say collaborating. Yes, it's a big one, and you get inspired by everybody. So for sure. And I would say being open-minded, and then work ethic is a big one. It always takes longer than you think, and you have to have more songs than you think, and just like keep creating and keep putting your name out there. And what's your work ethic? I mean, we've worked 14-hour days for 7 days a week for years and years and years, right? So for decades. Now we work a little less because we were older and now we're grown ups. And do we ever grow up? Exactly. So, but yes, you'd really have to put in the hours. Do you feel like a grown-up, or do you still feel like a kid? No, I'm definitely a kid, but maybe a little bit of both. Like, I think hopefully you get a little smarter and wiser. I mean, now that you have kids, you got to be the grown-up. You have to be dad. Yeah. And now I'm super fortunate. Both my girls are in music. So I didn't really encourage them that much, other than like, yes, of course they grew up around it and they know how to play instruments and sing, and but also knowing the industry, knowing how hard it is. Do they want to hear from you? Are they appreciative of your advice, or like they no do, but it's also important that they go out and do it on their own, right? Yeah. It's not like, oh, I take this song and just do this and you'll have success. So you have to kind of learn it by yourself and create your own. Yeah, we do. That's great. It's super fun. So well, those are the most important things, I would say. And then again, just be open-minded and don't be afraid to share your ideas, and Because a lot of people, I feel like, maybe are scared because someone might rip off my idea or get taken advantage of. But sometimes you have to just take that risk.
And then also someone like you, where you look at all the successes, you probably also have a lot of songs that didn't make it, right?
No, hundreds. Yeah.
Hundreds, yeah.
Tons of songs that never amounted to anything, but it might have been part of the journey or led to other great ideas, right?
Yeah.
And a few days ago, actually, we released a record with David Guetta. Mm-hmm. That's a Sia song we wrote 13 years ago.
Wow.
So sometimes also a song could sit in your hard drive for years, and then find a home or find a new purpose.
Amazing.
So, and also I would say working on a high level, especially as a producer, to be organized and have templates and systems in place to be creative, I think is really important.
Yeah.
To have all your kind of your sounds and your files and everything organized in a way that you can focus on executing your ideas and not like, where's that beat? No, I didn't name it the same as the bounce. And then, where are things? And no, that's on another drive. Like, artists don't have time for that. When they come to work, you need to have your shit together and need to be able to deliver like in the room.
Great. I think we've covered a lot of ground. Thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's so fun.
I always wanted to have a conversation like this with you.
Great. Likewise.
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
All right. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like or subscribe. And if you want to give us a review, we'd be very happy about a 5-star review. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.